Hey guys, this is Ellie from Teens vs Cancer here today, and I want to talk to you guys about infertility. So a lot of us teenagers with cancer will deal with infertility because a lot of the cancer treatments that we have to endure does cause infertility, unfortunately. And I think it is really difficult being a teenager with infertility because it's not like you can relate to many teenagers about the whole infertility thing, because a lot of women and men don't find out that they're infertile until they're much older. So being a teenager with infertility is really difficult, and it's not just one thing. Infertility, it can cause menopause, ovarian failure, all of that kind of thing, and that is really difficult to deal with. For me, I'm infertile and I also have ovarian failure, so I have to take different hormone supplements to supplement like my estrogen and stuff like that. So it is really difficult and hard to deal with, because I think as a teenager you plan out your life, you plan out whether you're going to have kids or not, and then suddenly this has kind of changed it all. So I want to give you guys some tips and advice on how to cope and deal with infertility. This video is suited around both male and females. However, if you would like to see a video about infertility specifically in teenage boys or teenage girls, then give us a comment, give us an email, because we can totally do that. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. My first and most important piece of advice is to have acceptance. So I find with a lot of people that have been diagnosed with infertility, they're almost in a state of denial and maybe a bit of anger as well. And whilst that is completely reasonable, you just can't feel like that in the long term, because with infertility it is a huge life change, and it is quite difficult to comprehend almost, but you've just got to accept it, because with acceptance you can move forward and take infertility in your stride and move on with life. Because if you do feel angry about the infertility, then you're just going to stay in the same place, whereas if you take infertility in your stride and move on with it, then you can move on with your life and make the best decisions for you. I think you can help yourself accept the infertility by embracing it. So I know this sounds crazy, but embrace the infertility. You're infertile. Every single person in this world has their own little quirk, and this is yours. You're infertile. That kind of sucks, but you're gonna embrace it and get on with life, and be your best self. Even if you do have infertility, it may seem like an imperfection, but it's really not. It's just something about you, and it's quite difficult to deal with, but just don't think badly about it, because otherwise you're going to stay in the same place. Whereas if you embrace it, take it in your stride and move on with life, then you're going to be able to move forward. My next piece of advice is to be positive. I think positivity is so important in scenarios like this, because infertility can bring a lot of darkness into someone's life. So it's really important that you stay positive and you never lose hope, because there's so many different medical revolutions happening out there. So they're working on loads of different fertility treatments. So I'm sure, but as being a teenager, by the time that you go to think about having children, there'll be the right fertility options out there for you. And I think being positive is so important, because when you're much older, if you're positive as a teenager, that will hopefully follow through when you're older, and think about having children, and then you can approach all the different fertility options with more positivity. My third piece of advice is to definitely talk to your doctors about your different fertility options. I know that for teenagers it can be a little bit of an embarrassing and awkward situation, but it's really important that you do talk about it, because you don't want to have any regrets about it when you are older. So it's really important that you talk to them, because they can provide you with different options. So there's like egg and sperm preservation, and there's loads of different options out there now. So it's really important that you do talk to your doctor through those options. My last and most important piece of advice is to remember that being infertile does not make you any less of a person. We haven't been plopped onto this earth just to reproduce. So that's not our sole purpose. We have so many other different purposes in life that being infertile isn't everything. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you any less of a partner. So just don't make it make you feel worthless, because you're not worthless at all. If anyone makes you feel that way, then they're not worth it, because being fertile is not everything. It doesn't define us as a person. So just, yeah, embrace and accept who you are and be confident with who you are, because infertility should not drag you down. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope this video really helped you. For more information and advice, go to the TeensVsCancer website. Remember that you are stronger than cancer.